Welcome back to Morgan's video blog with writing tips from the pros and, of course, my own writerly musings. Today I'm here with the nuts and bolts of chapters. These are my notes from a DisConIII panel of the same name. The panelists for the titular panel were Ada Palmer, Aparna Verma, L.E. Iyer, Nancy Kress, and Patricia A. Jackson, with Delia Sherman as moderator. The panel description was as follows. Do you even need chapters? How long should they be? Should you title your chapters or just number them? Where do you break a chapter and how do you write a good cliffhanger? How do you write chapters with multiple character points of view? So much to discuss for such a small topic. Now, while the panelists didn't address all of these, they did share some valuable tips. First off, let's talk about what do chapters do for a novel? Well, chapters are all about pacing and managing tension. So they do three things primarily. They can help prevent reader fatigue, they can lead into the next chapter, and they can let you switch something up, point of view, time, place, or, of course, all of the above. Um, so what does a chapter need to do? Well, some writers see each chapter as its own short story. The best chapters typically give closure to one plot point, be it external goals or internal emotional growth, while setting up the anticipation for the next plot point. So they don't really have as much closure as most short stories do. So, what are the two main types of chapters or scenes? Well, first, let's take a moment to recognize that scenes are different than chapters. They are a single point of view action taken forward. Each chapter can hold multiple scenes, or a scene can be split amongst between multiple chapters. So, anyway, there are two main types of chapters or scenes. There are the dramatized ones, and these are your action scenes, your dialogue. Basically, things you would find in a script or a video format. And of course, there are the expository scenes. These are your characters' internal monologues, the lyrical descriptive setups, the history info dumps, and even flashbacks. Because they aren't moving the character forward, they're informing you of what came before. At least, they're not moving you forward externally. But these quiet moments are crucial. The order of these chapters or scenes matters, though. Nancy Kress gave us her Kress's swimming pool rules. You have to kick off from the side of the pool with dramatization scenes before you can earn the quiet ones. Conflict, then ruminate. There are, of course, exceptions to the rules, but they typically require a high level of skill with prose and work better in more literary science fiction than commercial. So, let's talk about managing tension. As mentioned earlier, managing tension is one of the key roles of chapter breaks. As a story goes on, tension typically ramps up. But if tension is always ramping up, soon it becomes invisible, like the supposed frog in the pot. Breaks in tension make its heightening that much stronger. Shorter chapters are punchier and can ramp up the pacing, but overuse can take away that effect. Try to relegate short chapters to when something powerful is happening in your story. If a scene doesn't work where it is because of breaking tension or leaving it too high, see if you can shift around the scene. Try moving plot beats or even exposition. Patty Jackson quoted Nancy Springer, to solve the muddle in the middle issue, look for new beginnings and focus on those. When you're writing a story, there's always something new you're introducing. And so that can be what drives your story, especially in the middle. That can sometimes drag on. So, how can you just learn this stuff? Where did these writers, panelists get these tips from? Well, some of them get them, from structure, from using beat sheets, seeing if a 3 or 4 or maybe a 5 act structure works better for your story. Some pantsers, people who don't plan and write by the seat of their pants, find writing chronologically can help, even if it's not their natural instinct. You can break a book you've read down chapter by chapter and see what happens in what chapter at the high level, not in such a way you're stealing the plot, i.e., in chapter 1, the main character is introduced, given a hobby to humanize them. The initial conflict is hinted at, and you see a love interest, maybe like off in the distance or in passing. Um, Another way you can study is by reading a book you know reasonably well, chapter by chapter, in reverse order to see how they set up the things to come in the chapter you just read. All in all, some very handy tips and tricks that I will be thinking about for a long time. Are there any tips the panelists missed? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you for watching and tune in again next week for more writing tips and writerly musings. Bye bye.